we have another one in May, the third Friday.
Kind of like it works the first time.
Until they put me out of business.
How are we tonight? Thank everyone for coming tonight. We actually have 2 meetings tonight. So if you follow the process along, we have our annual budget meeting and we have our annual town meeting. So there's a process that we have to follow to make all this happen. But I want to first of all welcome everybody here. And our first order of business when we do this is going to be to elect a moderator to administer our meeting. Okay? So, entertain a motion for moderator.
Make a motion to nominate Bob Lockyer. Second.
Is there any other nominations? Okay. Seeing as there are none, we have all in favor to elect Noel to be the moderator for tonight's meeting, say aye. Aye. At this point, Noel takes over, handles the meeting, so that I can answer questions if need be.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming. I'll be gentle, I know it. Okay, first I'm going to start with reading the call for the meeting. Town of Hartford noticed the annual budget meeting April 24th, 2013. Board of Selectmen of Town of Hartford, Connecticut hereby certifies all electors and citizens entitled to vote in town meetings. In said town, oh, I forgot to say, please silence yourself.
Our other selectman wanted to join us by phone. He was unavoidably detained. Say hi, Jack. I hope you can hear it. You're going to kill my battery. We're in process.
Okay. Welcome aboard. Vote in town meetings in said town of Hartford, Connecticut, that the annual budget meeting will be held on Wednesday, April 24th, in the year of 2013 at 7 p.m. in the senior meeting room, New Hartford Town Hall, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Over here. Okay. To consider and act upon the town budget recommended by the Board of Finance for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013. Number 2, pursuant to Section 7-7 of the Connecticut General Statutes, revision of 1958 as amended to adjourn said budget meeting at its conclusion and to submit item number 1 on the call of this meeting to be voted upon using voting tabulations on Tuesday, May 7th, 2013, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. The electors residing in the voting district number 1 shall vote at the New Hartford Town Hall, 530 Main Street in New Hartford. Electors residing in voting district number 2 shall vote at the South End Firehouse, 20 Anthony Road in New Hartford. Voters qualified to vote at town meeting who are not electors shall vote their respective polling places. Absentee ballots will be available from the town clerk, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut, and will be counted at their respective polling places. The question to be voted upon shall be placed on the ballot as: shall the budget of the town of New Hartford 21st to April 18th, 2013. That was dated on 24th day of April, 2013.
Point of order.
Point of order being,
I dispute the call of this meeting,
based on,
Title 7 Municipalities, Chapter 106, Section 7-344, that it does not meet the form required for reporting, and I have copies thereof, and I'll read the pertinent part, that a public meeting which shall be...
excuse me. We're not going to take that as a
You have
point
to
of order.
finish. This is a dispute of the actual notice.
And how much do you intend to read?
Little bit that says what the report shall be.
Go ahead.
The report shall be prescribed by the Office of the Secretary of Policy and Management, containing one, the actual an itemized statement of actual receipts from all sources such as the town during the last fiscal year. 2, an itemized statement by classification of actual expenditures during the same year. 3, an itemized estimate of an anticipated revenues during the ensuing fiscal year from each source other than local property taxes, and an estimate of the amount which should be raised by local property taxation for such ensuing fiscal year. 4, an itemized estimate of the expenditures in such town for the ensuing fiscal year. And 5, the amount of the revenue surplus or deficit of the town at the beginning of the fiscal year, for which the estimate is being prepared, and providing the town, which according to the most recent federal census has a population of less than 5,000, which we do not, by ordinance which we do not have, shall waive such publication requirement. And we meet this, and the town clerk has notified the town on several occasions that we meet this.
Well,
It's insufficient
I'm going
notification.
to refer an answer to
The process for which we vote on our annual budget has been in effect nearly 20 years. It's endured my 2 terms, Roland Guinness's terms before me, Bill's 3 terms before him, I believe it was Bruce Gresick before then, and this question about the appropriateness of how we prepare and present our budget was actually raised last year. We invited town council to come to our selectmen meeting where I questioned him thoroughly about the process of how we prepare the budget, how it's been done in the past, and how we vote on it, and the process that takes place. And I actually have the minutes from the meeting when he attended our meeting last year, February 9th, 2012, which are on file in our town clerk's office, where I questioned him, and these were all available for anyone here to read. I'll just get right to the point of it. I questioned our town attorney point blank and said, Attorney Rohrback, are we doing anything wrong here in the process that we're doing? And I'll read, quote, Jeremy, this is in page 2 of the February 9th, 2012, page 12, second to last paragraph. Quote, Jeremy again posed the question to Attorney Rohrback, have we done anything illegal? Attorney Rohrback, Mr. Rohrback, in the minutes replied, no, and added again, the authority to go to referendum vote is granted by statute. Rohrback also stated that due to the fact that the ordinance, this was questioning how the ordinance, we have an old ordinance that supposedly forced this issue, which we don't believe has ever been enforced. Was voted on at town meeting and adopted. There's no authority that could declare the ordinance is valid unless a judge rules. Daria, I would pose the question to you is that if you believe it is, you have civil recourse, and I would suggest that we move on.
Dan, I'm not questioning whether we go to,
Excuse me.
No. I'm not saying whether or not we go to a referendum. What I'm saying is the statute says you have to give actual numbers and you have to publish it. Where in what was given are the actual numbers that you have proposed and you have budgeted? Where are the actual numbers? Were they either given at the hearing, or did the Board of Finance cause them to be published?
I have the budget on file for here for everyone to review. If anyone has a specific question, the revenues and expenditures are right here for your review. I would suggest that we don't get into a legal challenge here. I'm not prepared to act as attorney. We do have our town attorney, who has opined that the process that we're following is appropriate.
Based on what I just heard, I think that point of order is not valid at this time. We can't get any further discussion on it. Maria, point of order.
Thank you for recognizing me. I would like to clarify that what the first selectman just read out was only concerning taking the budget directly to referendum. I was the one who questioned it, which is why the attorney came to the town meeting, and I was questioning the process of bypassing the budget meeting, the discussion at the budget meeting, before sending the budget to referendum. Daria is questioning something totally different from that. Therefore, what the attorney opined on was a totally different matter. So I would like to again raise the issue that Daria brought, that the correct information was not disseminated publicly to every person in town, which makes this meeting null and void.
I disagree. Okay. Number one, there have been many meetings. I've attended some myself. We have several members of the Board of Finance here, and the budget has been published and available to the public for some time. So I think that your point is well taken.
I would just address it. We addressed the entirety of how we prepare and present our budget. As I've said, this has been done through years past, through many first selectmen before me. Nothing has changed in the process, and democracy will prevail. Everyone will have their fair day to be able to go to the polls, to be able to cast their ballots for or against the budget. No process has changed since I have taken office. It's the same as when I see another former first selectman go back to here. Nothing has changed in the process that changes the cost to vote to go to office. And we act on advice of our council, and I would say that a motion to move on would be appropriate at this time.
So,
Second.
All in favor of moving on?
Aye.
All against?
no.
Motion carries.
No.
Okay, we'll continue with the reading of the call. Item number one, to consider and act upon the town budget recommended by the Board of Finance for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013. Okay, the Board of Selectmen, in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 7.7, has removed item number one from the call for this meeting and adjourned such vote on the budget to a referendum to be held on Tuesday, May 7th, 2013, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. In accordance with Section 7-6 of the Connecticut General Statute, as amended, only an elector of the town or a citizen of the United States of the age of 18 or more who jointly or severely was liable to the town for taxes assessed against him based on an assessment of not less than $1,000 on the last completed grand list of the town, or who would have been so liable if not entitled to an exemption as a blind person or as a veteran or as a parent or so as a spouse of a veteran who would be entitled to vote at the meeting would be entitled to vote at the referendum. Having said all that, this item has been removed from the call. The meeting, therefore, there will be no action on this item. Is there any further discussion? Since there is no further...
Excuse me. I would like to be recognized again. I have objected.
Moderator recognizes you.
Thank you. I have objected to this process for the past 3 years, and it has always been justified because this had taken place for many years before. I would just like to put out for the record that since it has been challenged for the last 3 years, if this were to come to a court beyond this venue, then the present selectmen, the past 3 years, will be the ones who are responsible for bypassing the process. I wanted that for the record. I understand that you're not going to do anything different from 5 years.
Your point of order is not going to be heard. I've heard from the folks in the room that they didn't care to have any more discussion on this sorry, I don't recall your name.
Keith Kenneth Croner.
Thank you.
The process that was given back in 1989 and 1990, where we would take, instead of having a town meeting and vote on a budget, we would vote to bring it to a referendum. So the majority of the people in the town could vote. Because at that particular time in 89 and 90, only a few people would come and vote on the budget. And it did not give the opportunity for the rest of the population of the taxpayers in New Hartford to vote on it. It was so voted in an ordinance. It was challenged, I believe, twice, and the challenge was not upheld.
Thank you, well said. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to have a motion to close the discussion. So we can move
Prior
on.
to that, since you said.
I'm sorry, repeat.
Very hard, since you said a specific line item, but I asked the first selectman, what is the actual surplus that the town of New Hartford has, which was not contained within any of the documentation that was given out at the public hearing?
The actual surplus.
Actual surplus that the town of New Hartford
It's on
has.
file in my office and the town clerk's in our
Since
annual
the
budget.
moderator said we could discuss the budget, I'm asking you what the actual surplus is as of the date of the file. That's part of what is listed here as the
Darius,
result.
if you recall, I asked for this further discussion, the majority said no.
Then you
Carry on
said,
with the call.
does anybody want to discuss a line item? I asked the
I will
question on the
put
line
The
item.
surplus is not a line item within the budget.
I will put that to the citizens here once again, because we care to have continuing discussion on this item.
No.
Thank you. Okay. I think we left off with, since this item has been removed from the call, the meeting, there can be no action at this time, and we had already finished the discussion. Since there's no further discussion on that, we'll move on to item number 2.
No, motion to adjourn.
Adjourn the entire meeting.
No.
Oh, okay, I understand. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
We have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Good. We are adjourned.
All in favor?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. All in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Aye.
Opposed?
No. No.
Motion carries. Yes?
The script I have, I think you need a motion to approve that this meeting is adjourned to referendum on page 2.
Yes?
Did we get that?
I'd like to modify my motion to
Thank you.
adjourn to referendum. To the referendum to be held on Tuesday, May 7th, 2015. And I second that.
All in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so, having no additional business to conduct, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, please. Second.
All in favor of adjourning this meeting?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Obviously, that's the first budget meeting, first of our 2 meetings for tonight. The second one is don't go too far now.
I'm resting for just a second.
The second meeting that we have today has several items on the agenda. Once again, we know, Don, you have the time? You all set?
Yes.
Okay. So we note that we adjourned our last meeting at 7:21.
And it's now 7.
And now we'll call our annual town meeting to order. Once again, we have the opportunity to elect a moderator to the meeting.
I make a motion to elect Rob Lockyer as moderator. I
Thank you. The ayes have it. Thanks, all.
Okay, next meeting. So I'll read the call of the meeting and notice of the annual town meeting, April 24th. Notice of referendum on May 7th, 2013. Board of Selectmen of the Town of New Hartford, Connecticut hereby notifies all electors and citizens entitled to vote in the town meeting in said town of New Hartford that the annual town meeting will be held on Wednesday, April 24th, 2013, immediately following the annual budget meeting, which begins at 7 p.m. in the Senior Center meeting room of New Hartford Town Hall, 530 Main Street, in New Hartford, Connecticut, for the following purposes. 1. To take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the approval of the following resolution. Be it resolved, A. Authorize the establishment of a school building committee to coordinate and oversee. B. Authorize the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications. C. Authorize the superintendent of schools to apply for a school construction grant. 2. To take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the election of members of the school building committee. 3. To take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the election of 2 members to the Stanford Code Authority, terms to expire 6/30/2014 and 6/30/2016. Item 4. To take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the acceptance of an easement agreement between the Lycia and Mason Beckley Community Library Incorporated in the town of New Hartford for space to be used for an access driveway and parking area. The easement agreement is available to the public inspection in the office of New Hartford Town Clerk, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Item 5. To take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the approval of a lease agreement between the New Hartford Village Fire District Incorporated with the town of New Hartford for use of space located at 5 College Street for use as a town recreation area known as Callahan Park. The lease agreement is available for inspection in the office of the New Hartford Town Clerk, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Item 6. To take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the sale for the sum of $8,700 to Robert J. Vakelis and Susan E. Vakelis, I hope I got the names correct, of that certain piece of parcel of land located in the town of New Hartford, county of Litchfield, the state of Connecticut, shown as parcel 3, area to be deeded from the town of New Hartford to Robert J. Vakelis and Susan E. Vakelis, 13,756 square feet, plus or minus, on a certain map or plan entitled Property Survey Prepared for Robert J. Vakelis and Susan E. Vakelis, 325 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Rica Associates, LLC, 6/14/2012. Scale 1 inch equals 20 feet. Kenneth S. Rica, I'm pronouncing that name. And he has an alphabet here for titles, PELS, Project 07-0175. A copy of the survey is available for inspection in the office of the Hartford Town Clerk, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Item 7. To take such action as voters deem best with respect to the acceptance of a recreation trail easement to be granted by Robert J. Vakelis and Susan E. Vakelis to the town of New Hartford as shown on a certain map or plan entitled Property Survey Prepared for Robert J. Vakelis and Susan E. Vakelis, 325 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Rica Associates, LLC, 6/14/2012. Scale 1 inch equals 20 feet. Catherine S. Berisha, PELNS, project number 07-0175. A copy of the survey is available for inspection in the office of the New Hartford Town Clerk, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Item number 8. Upon the recommendation of the Board of Finance to take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the appropriation of an amount not to exceed $565,000 for the purpose of purchasing the General Statutes of Connecticut, revision of 1958, as amended to adjourn the meeting at its conclusion and to submit item 8 on the call of this meeting to be voted upon using voting tabulators on Tuesday, May 7, 2013, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. Electors residing in the voting district number 1 shall vote at the New Hartford Town Hall, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut. Electors residing in the voting district number 2 shall vote at the South End Firehouse, 20 Anthony Road, New Hartford, Connecticut. Voters qualified to vote in town meetings who are not elected shall vote at their respective polling places. Absentee ballots will be available for the town clerk, 530 Main Street, New Hartford, Connecticut, and will be counted at their respective polling places. The questions to be voted upon shall be placed on the ballots as, shall the town of Hartford approve an additional appropriation in an amount not to exceed $565,000 for the purpose of purchasing and installing security equipment and improvements at the 3 local school buildings. Voters approving the question will vote yes, and those opposing the question will vote no. Dated on New Hartford, Connecticut, 11th day of April 2013, signed by Daniel B. Grant for Selectman, Alicia Kennison, Selectman, John H. Casey, Selectman, and Donald Town Clerk. Okay, which brings us to the return of the closing. Publication of notice of the annual town meeting. I, Daniel B. Durant, first selectman of the town of Hartford, Connecticut, hereby certify that it caused a copy of the formal notice of the annual town meeting notice of referendum to be posted on the town sign post on Wednesday, April 17, 2015, also published in the Hartford Current, a newspaper published in Hartford, Connecticut, having a general circulation of the town of Hartford on Thursday, April 18, 2013, dated 24th day of April 2013, signed Daniel B. Durant, first one. Okay. May I have a motion to approve the following resolution? Resolved, to authorize the establishment of a school building committee to coordinate and oversee school building project, to authorize the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications for the project, and to authorize the superintendent of schools to apply for school construction grant for the project.
So, second.
Very well. Is there any further discussion on this issue? Yes, sir. Gentleman in the back, if you please state your name.
Yes, William Baxter. My question on item number 1. Is this required by statute that this building committee be formed?
Yes. Through the month.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, through the month. Yes. If I may, Mr.
Certainly.
Part of what we're doing here, if you can see the agenda, which Noel just read, is a practicality measure. We're going to have a vote, again, as this last item will adjourn to referendum with the budget. But should the town consider this and approve this, these items have to be considered tonight so that the practicality of having any type of construction improvements go on during the summer season when the kids are out of school would take effect. We have the motion to approve the superintendent to do what he has to do, have the schematics, and have the building committee, and then the second item would be to actually be for those people who would perform the duties. We have volunteers.
Any further discussion?
This
so that everybody else can
three more. This is a very open-ended building committee. I would like to suggest that I understand the need to have it in place should number 8, should the referendum pass for the school. But I would like to suggest that we add at the end of the item that it be applied for a school construction grant related to the doors and security upgrades as outlined in number 8 and 9 of this meeting.
Further discussion on that?
I would just add is that at this point, the answer is a yes or no. This has been posted for consideration.
Question?
My name is Mary Beth Greenwood.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, my first question when reading this is, It is very open-ended. Is this for a specific project, or is this just to facilitate any work that they think they need to do over the whole summer? I mean, it could be read either way.
Defer that to the member of the Board of Finance, or if it's okay.
This is specifically to deal with the school security enhancements. That is the subject of item number 8.
Then it should probably say that. I mean, this could be used in a lot of different ways. The way that, I mean, I didn't connect the two when I first read it. I thought they were going to build a new school.
Any, and you are Darrell?
Gary, is the first selectman saying that we do not have the power to amend this motion? Well, I would put on the floor a motion to amend it to say, Marie, would you give me the language?
I would,
I'm making a motion.
It's to add at the end of number 1.
just say, we have a motion on the floor.
And I'm amending it.
You're amending the motion.
I'm amending the motion to
There
say.
was no second to that motion,
Right,
that original
so-
motion. If there
Well,
was,
we're in a town meeting, it's considered that it's put on the floor, it doesn't need a second.
okay,
I would ask this,
what's the motion?
ladies and gentlemen. Then, I heard a motion, is there a second to that motion to amend this?
I haven't made my motion to amend. How can you ask for a second when I haven't completed it? What's
Sorry,
the
it's
motion
happening.
you're trying to, come on here, please. What was the original motion that everybody's talking about?
She wants to amend. So that everybody understands, myself included, would you be kind enough to clearly state the motion?
The motion to amend to include that it will be item number 8, to deal with the security. What was the other word, Maria?
Doors and security upgrades.
Doors and security upgrades. That's my motion to amend.
Well, aren't we just a little premature, we haven't gotten that yet?
No, we're not. You can amend the motion on the floor.
All right, so you want to amend item number 8.
Item number 1.
I'm sorry, 1.
Item number 1.
They basically want to combine item number 1 and item number 3 into a single motion.
No.
Correct?
No.
No?
They're just looking to add some language at the end of number 1. It will be up to the body.
And so,
To see if
you've
it's
heard the motion. Okay. If I understand this correctly, the motion is you want to amend item number 1.
Where is the motion? Who made that motion? No. She made the amendment.
No, what is the original, made the original motion, and I seconded it.
You made the original motion.
Right.
Call to order, please.
Forward. The original motion as I have it, and maybe Donna would read
Alicia
back,
made it, and Penny seconded it.
which is the original language of item number 1.
Right.
Dari would like to add, how many words to the end?
Donna, could you read it back?
You wish to amend it to include, for the project of doors and security upgrade for the school.
All right, so, I'm going to ask the citizens here to say whether they approve
Point of
this-
order, you need a second.
I thought that Maria seconded that,
No, you
I'll
have to-
second it.
okay? Sorry.
Martha Busmeyer.
Martha
Busmeyer.
Butler.
Do you want me to?
So Martha has seconded the motion. We're going to put it to a vote.
Before you vote,
Amend.
please read the original motion like I had asked.
Certainly.
Thank you. The original motion and then the amendment before anybody votes.
Okay, originally we started with, may I have a motion to approve the following resolution, resolved to authorize the establishment of school building committee to coordinate and oversee a school building project, to authorize the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications for the district for the project, and to authorize the superintendent of schools to apply for the school construction grant for the project. That was the original. Okay? We have a motion and a second to amend this.
So I would ask for those approving.
Point of order, you need discussion.
You need discussion?
I thought we had.
You can't have discussion until it's seconded.
Did she not say?
Darby, you want to amend the motion, let's just have a vote. How many times can you amend?
Because we're allowed to discuss it.
The original amendment was seconded.
Right.
Yes.
Therefore, we can have a vote. Call
And
for a
the
vote.
discussion was that you would like to amend it, as I understand.
I put an amendment on, and now the body has the right to discuss the
We voted on
amendment.
it first and then the original.
No, you always vote the second and then the vice versa.
We have to vote
Okay.
the first one that was rewritten.
Yes.
Is there any more discussion
I'm sorry,
on the
you need
whole
to-
amendment?
I'm sorry.
Is there any more discussion on the whole amendment before we vote?
That's a good point. I thought we had that discussion. Perhaps I'm there.
No, I had another question. Mary Ann Gunning, and my question is related to A, authorize the establishment of a school building committee to coordinate, oversee. I assume that that authorization is going to be by the first selectman, and I was wondering if there are any qualifications that would be required for a school building committee to coordinate and oversee. As for instance, some educational person involved in that committee.
I would refer that question to Dan.
I'm aware of no specific breakdown or prerequisite requirements to participate other than approval of this body.
Well, my question then is, should this body want some qualifications for the committee?
Mary Ann, we have a school facility study committee that has been working diligently, that has members here tonight, Denton Butler, Roy Litchfield, Melissa Giacconi, that have worked, and Melissa is a member of the Board of Education. Denton and Roy have worked with Mike Zani and Kenny Croner, also here tonight, have worked tirelessly as volunteers on many building projects for this town, including sewer line construction, wastewater treatment plant, and now this school facility system. So they do bring a lot of experience to the table in facilitating. If I could ask Bud, they worked on the $8 million sewer construction project, and brought in nearly $1 million under budget in a year in advance of schedule. I think that speaks volumes. They also worked tirelessly on the Brook Street Sewer Project, which also came in on time and under budget also.
So they will be the committee.
That would be up to this group to approve in item.
And Mary Ann, more than one member of the Board of Education is on the board.
Okay, I got that.
Okay. So, that,
I just, for a point of information, would like to address the amended motion this week. In October of last year, the Board of Selectmen officially appointed a school building study committee to analyze the needs for construction improvements at Amity School based upon 3 separate previously edited reports put out by architectural engineering firms. We were in the midst of doing that analysis when the events at Newtown took place. The superintendent of the Board of Education asked us to oversight a review of security. The wording in that first motion tonight was intended to be vague, use that terminology, so that the committee could complete its review of those reports, analyze a facilities assessment at Amity School, and come back and make recommendations not only for the security project, which we put ahead of the other activities, but to go back and look at the roof, the windows, and other things at Amity that may need to be changed. If you change that wording, you'll be back here for another town meeting to then appoint or ask the building committee to accept responsibility for the original charge of the Board of Selectmen from last year to undertake a building analysis of the building. So I respectfully request that you consider withdrawing the motion.
It wasn't a motion, it was a question.
Two things that we are doing are analyzing animating on the roof, windows, doors, and security standpoint.
Gentleman in the back, hand his hand up. Okay.
As the maker of the motion, and based upon what Denton has said as further clarification, I withdraw my amendment to this motion and ask that the seconder please withdraw.
Could I ask a question before?
Just a second. You seconded the motion, did you not?
I did. Could I ask a question? This is my first town meeting, so I don't know the process.
But yes, I can ask you a question.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Through the model.
Okay, my concern is that to me, maybe I just misread it. I thought I didn't put the two and two together when I read it. I didn't realize that the first item went with the 8th item. So for me, it's just, it does, if the two are connected, I think that it's just a clarification issue.
And, further clarification, when we get to item 8, I think. All right? Okay, so you wanted to withdraw the
Based
motion.
upon what Denton has said, not hamstring them, and with clarification, I agree to withdraw my motion. I motion to amend.
And you said.
You have to withdraw your second.
You seconded.
I'll withdraw it.
Motion's been withdrawn. Okay, motion's been withdrawn.
Move the question.
Move the
No,
question to
second.
vote.
No, excuse me. Excuse me, I asked to ask a
Sorry, we're
question.
in broad order at this point.
No,
Okay.
I had
Motion's
my
been
hand up
withdrawn.
before it was moved. I had my hand up before it was moved. Therefore, I have a right to ask a question.
I'll give you courtesy of listening
Thank
to your
I
question.
appreciate it. And I wanted to ask Denton, under what authority were you evaluating the whole construction project at the Anthony School before it turned into a doors and securities project? Were you some kind of a group already that was formed?
He is already into that in the statement, I believe.
No, because there's a missing piece of information. They were acting as the building studies committee. And as such, they were evaluating, they were doing all of the work that Denton says that they need to do in the future. You were doing that as a building studies committee. Therefore, amending this number 1 wouldn't have to be anyway, because you are still a building studies committee.
All right.
It doesn't mean that you're being dissolved.
The motion's been withdrawn, the second has been withdrawn. We're going to move to a vote. The original motion. All those in favor of the original motion, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 2, to elect members to serve on the school building committee. Open the floor for nominations for the school building committee. Are there any nominations? Yes?
I'd like to nominate Bill Baxter, if he would be so kind as to accept.
And Mr. Jackson's response was?
Mr. Baxter, you have a response?
Yes, I'll accept that if there's a vacancy.
Any other nominations?
Denton Butler.
Denton Butler.
I'd like to nominate Roy Litchfield.
Roy Litchfield.
I'd like to nominate Melissa.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to nominate Ken Cromer.
Thank you. And who did you say?
I'd like to nominate Melissa Ciccone. She's one of the remaining study committee members from the Board of Ed.
Very well. Any other nominations?
sorry.
Excuse me, Mr. Devon, I'd like to raise a point of order that you need to have those nominations seconded, and then close nominations, and move to vote second.
Thanks for keeping straight.
Perhaps I could facilitate that with a motion of a slate, that would be appropriate. If you can get a second, I'd like to motion the slate of Denton Butler, Roy Litchfield, Kenneth Croner, Melissa Giaccone, and Bill Badger. Was that all of the nominations from the floor?
And I'll second that.
So, we have a slate of folks. I'd like to have a call, all those in favor of these fine folks take on that task, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, to elect 2 members to Stansford Code Authority. I'd like to open the floor for nominations, and these are 2 different periods. So opening the floor for nominations, I will entertain that. Please let me know who would be willing to serve.
I'd like to nominate Daria Hart. Daria Hart.
I'd like to nominate Melanie Diaz.
Okay.
Actually, I'll second Daria Hart's nomination first, to make it easier.
You want to be second for?
I'll second Diaz.
Thank you.
You have a question on the board?
I'm sorry. Yes, he's going to second.
And if he,
We're nominating Daria Hart for the term expiring June 30th, 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mean to hold it up, but what is the status of Stancliff Cove for the summer?
I hope it's going to be open.
Actually, remember that just not to get too long, remember that you see today, and everything should be fine. They're going to put their repairs off to the end of the summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other nominations? Let's see. We need a,
Just Daria first.
okay. We're going to vote on Daria, and that is for, what was the term again for Daria, you said?
Ending
Jeremy?
2016.
Okay. So, all those in favor of Daria for the vote ending, for the term ending in 2016? Opposed? Motion carries. Now, for Melanie Davis.
Term expiring June 30th, 2014.
Second, the nomination.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4. To take action regarding an easement agreement between Lucia and Mason Beckley Community Library in the town of New Hartford. The request of the library, this item will be removed from the agenda at this time, and no action will be taken with respect to an easement at this meeting. Yes?
We have a similar easement agreement behind the bank and the package store over here, which has functioned quite well for members of our village that want to support shops to come over and support the stores. We've been working hard with the library to try to gain some more parking for the village center to support the activities that go on downtown. The library's been considering that. We've been working with them, but they still have a couple of questions left before they're ready to sign an easement to the town in a similar fashion that we have below. So we look forward to coming back to the town to consider that at a later date. The map has been drawn, but they're still getting comfortable with exactly how the parking will be configured and the language that goes into these things, as easements are permanent. So they want to make sure that they're working with both.
Well, are you allowing discussion on this item, or?
This is required discussion.
somebody has a quick question, we can take a quick question.
Okay, because I was speaking to people at the library today, and I understand that they're really uncomfortable with the easement, and would rather look to a lease, which is rather a large modification. It's not quite as simple as, living there to live. Thank you.
Well, I've been at some of the meetings, Selectman John Casey, and with the other select persons here tonight. I've been at the meetings with the library board, and we have, made tremendous amount of progress in the direction that we want to go.
Just passing on what I
No, I understand, and it's upsetting, it's equally upsetting to me that we aren't able to finalize the arrangement, in item number 4 tonight. But I suspect that we will be able to in the future, and it will be in an amicable fashion for the library and the town members. We're going to make some progress there. We're going to have a nice gazebo. So unfortunately, we aren't able to finalize the agreement tonight, but I'm sure we will in the future.
Mr. Moderator, I didn't hear a motion or a second on this item. I understand this item is going to be removed from the agenda or tabled. Is that what I understand? Then I'd like to make a motion to table this item. Does this also have to do with the next item, number 5? Or no? Okay.
I'll second Reggie's motion.
Motion to table item number 4.
Okay, a motion that has been seconded to table item number 4. We can move that to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 5, to take action regarding a lease agreement between the New Hartford Village Fire District and the Town of New Hartford. In order to allow for discussion on this matter, we'll ask for a motion and a second, and then open for discussion. Do I have a motion open for discussion?
Second.
Discussion, question? Just for everybody's edification, the town is releasing the property from the New Hartford Village District from the early 70s. We have worked with the village fire board to renew the lease. So it's business as usual with the riverfront park known as Cal.
Yep. I have copies here dating back to 1976. We have Bill Baxter here, who at that point in time, let me check your role at that time, Bill. You were the chairman of the New Hartford Village District, where you worked with Bob LaVoy to cement the original lease for 10 years with a 10-year option. This was $1. We're very thankful to have the Village Fire District being working with our community to do it. We basically furthered the lease again. The town Village Fire District have approved it, the selectmen have approved it. We've been told by council to forward this meeting and approve it for another 10 years. We need the authority of this group here tonight.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Well, why 10 years? Why not a 99-year lease? Why so short a lease? Does the fire district have some plans for the future for that property? If they don't, a 99-year lease seems more appropriate.
If I may, Mr. Moderator, it's actually a 10-year lease with a 10-year option. So it really takes care and locks the property up as a recreational amenity for 20 years for the total cost of the taxpayers of the town for $1. This is something that was based off the original agreement that was worked out when Bill was the chairman of the fire district and first selectman LaVoy was the first selectman in the town. It's been great since then. It's long been expired, Paul. It's something that was overlooked, and the selectmen here got together, called upon the commissioners of the fire district to say, hey, can we get together, work together to put this together for our town, to take care of business, to provide this amenity for our community for another, what is, if we exercise the option, 20 years.
Well, I said, why 10 years? Why such a short lease? Because if the town really is involved and wants to keep that piece of property as recreational, why not a 99-year lease at $1 a year?
I'd like
Make
to
it more appropriate so that every 10 years it doesn't have to come up.
Yeah, but one could argue, may I say, one could argue 99 years is not enough, about 299 years. So, 20 years is a substantial amount of time, it's a huge commitment on behalf of the fire district, so
should someone be injured on the land recreating as a town park, when it's owned by the fire, we have liability insurance that needs to take care of it. We need to have the lease to further that. So this codifies the agreement in writing. We have wonderful commissioners and firefighters in all of our districts, and this really puts into writing what has long been expired.
So just to clarify, if we do something on that piece of property, recreational, meaning putting equipment there, the playground or something, it's actually owned by the village guard district?
I agree, and I would have to defer to Dan.
Yes.
Sure, because that's how it would be. Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Beck, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just saying, Paul made a good point, but it's a moot point tonight. We should vote on this, get it moved on, and for the next time around, extend the date for the first time. It's conjecture, so it should be voted on.
I just give a final comment. We're very thankful to Chairman Reeder, who has done this with us, and the other commissioners who approved this at their last meeting. It's a nice amenity to have for our town. We're thankful for the firefighters and commissioners for working.
Any further discussion? Any hand raised?
Yeah, I just want to say it's $1 well spent.
Thank you.
Come on. It's
Good.
Thank you,
$1.
Dory.
All right. Do I have a motion to put this to a vote? Second. All in favor of approving this?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6. To take action regarding the sale of property to Robert J. Velasquez. Vascalis, sorry, and Susan E. Vascalis for the sum of $8,700. In order to allow for discussion on this, I ask for a motion in a second and open for discussion.
So moved.
Second, okay.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
just to give everyone a little history here, the Vascalises live down on Main Street on Route 44, heading down towards the Waring Building on the right-hand side. They approached the town well over a year ago. They had come to realize that the property they own, their home, is an odd-shaped parcel, generally triangular, and then there's a town-owned piece of land. They have a second piece of land where their pool is in the back. They bought their property many years ago, not knowing that it was put together, it was missed by the attorneys in the title search for that time. That was represented, and the Vascalises are here tonight. They asked that the town would consider rectifying that by selling them the piece in the middle. And what happened is there's a legal process where they have to come to the selectmen, asked to come before a town meeting like this. We told them that they had to go for what's called 8-24 here. That's planning and zoning, where they go. The land use planners that are elected consider the application. They have to give it a thumbs up on an 8-24 or a thumb down in saying, is this consistent with our plan of conservation development? Is this proposal consistent? Well over a year ago, the planning and zoning said, no, it's not, because they were concerned that this piece of land at that time may sometime in the future, who knows how long, as they'll say, maybe 99 years or who knows, might be used for rails and trails. Now, we know that it goes down, if you know the property that we're talking about, it starts at the highway across from the laundromat and comes in on the other side of the street diagonal and ends up at the abutment that is owned by Jack, right here, 25 feet in the air. So the long story short is that we have elected members of the PNC here with us tonight. So the planning and zoning said no, and told them their concerns were, if we ever want to have rails and trails there, how would pedestrians get from one side to the other? You need to solve that problem. So the Vascalises went back to the drawing board, and what they did is they created an easement that goes around. I'd like to take a minute to refer everybody to this map. With your permission, Mr. Ryder. So you can see, this is the property for which they own. This is the town property, and this is the rear of the property. Okay? This is the front property where their house is, the town property, and the rear of the property. So in theory, if the town ever wanted to have a rails to trails here, to get to here,
Is there a sewer line and a water line right in that area?
There are. This land cannot be approved. Can't be built on. Okay, there's things through there. So anyway, Long story short is that the selectmen gave the feedback back to the Viscouses that you need to deal with the recommendation, the negative recommendation, and solve that problem if you want to be considered at a town meeting. So what the Viscouse family did is went back to their surveyors and said, well, what if we gave you an easement to go around the back so that it could be achieved? If you ever had the opportunity to have a trail, you could get from one side to the other. And that's what they did. So they went back to the drawing board, they got their attorneys, they worked with their engineer and their appraiser and the land use office and their art planning, town planner, and said, how do we do this? This is the design they came up with. Now part of that process is, you've got to have a drawing. So this has been surveyed several times at the expense of the Viscouses and their attorney. Then they had to have it appraised, because every time they change the map, the land area that they're buying changes. And they had to do all this and then go back to the land use board again for another 8-24 hearings. Well, they did that a few months ago, and this time around, the Planning and Zoning Commission said, okay, thumbs up. You answered our concern, and you put this. So they vote, and the vote was that now the proposal is consistent with the plan of conservation development and can come before this board, this group.
So what happens to the sewer if it goes down there?
The town gets an easement, which is
Is that included in it?
so that we can maintain.
No way of knowing.
Yes, it's all,
So if the town has to dig it up.
we can go in there anytime.
So they're going
Holly, we can dig it up and fix it.
the only there's an easement for the sewer, and then there's another easement for walking around, I think.
Right. They would give this back to us. But this, we would sell them and would maintain an easement for us to go in and do any repairs. Perhaps their attorney would like to further explain.
If I could, thank you for allowing me to address that question. My name is Peter Herbst, and I represent Sue and Bob Viscouses, who bought the property, and I did not represent them when they bought it. They thought there was an easement in their backyard, and then they got a survey done, they found out that the town actually owned the backyard. So just as Dan described it, the next item on your agenda is to accept an easement from the Viscouses for not only sewer, but also there's a water line that goes through there, and there's a drainage ditch that the town wants to have a right to use, in addition to the recreational trail easement. And just in answering the question, my clients are very nervous. This is their home. They've lived there for 13 years. They've been told that the property is not marketable at the present time because of this problem. And we went to the town for help, and Dan has been just fabulous the way he's guided us through the process. And your Board of Selectmen, Planning and Zoning Commission, RISTA, Town Planner, and my clients have tried to address everything. I know they've spent over $10,000 in their efforts to do that. And I think that we have done that. And I know that tonight they'll be very appreciative if you would support this. Thank you.
So just for the moderator, just saying, we do have letters from the, for attachments from RISTA indicating that the property has been considered and approved on that 8-24. We also have a letter from the town planner that indicates that he's reviewed the proposal and thinks that it's okay. So these are available for reading.
I had some hands ready to first.
I'd like to make a motion to move the question, sir.
Thank you.
And we also have appraisals done, which estimate that. Excuse me.
Got a motion to move the question, and seconded.
Are you closing discussion?
Yes. Motion was made to move the question.
Point of order. How can you, when you have hands in the
please raise your hands. Aye. And say aye. And those opposed? Motion carries. Now we will move this to the vote. All in favor of accepting this, please indicate by voting aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
If I might want to give Mr. or Mrs. Scouts a chance to address the crowd.
You have the floor.
I just want to thank everybody that's been waiting really heavy on me. It's, you know, it's a big investment for me. And, I just want to thank everybody for buying my car. It really means a lot.
You're welcome.
I believe that brings us to item number 8.
Seven.
Sorry, skip one. Oh. Keep in order. Keep them on in order. All right, item number 7, to take action with respect to the acceptance of a recreation trail easement to be granted by this Robert J. Scalise and Susan D. Scalise of the town of Hartford. In order to allow for discussion, I'm asking for a motion and a second open discussion. So
moved.
first, second, open for discussion. Questions? No questions? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I would like to ask, why do we have to approve this easement at this time when we don't have a trail?
I think, if I understood it
Two reasons. One, we're getting the easement in this number 7 for the water, sewer, and drainage ditch. In the future, for the trails to rail should come. In reference to number 7, I think it would be duly noted that the previous property owner, Mr. Fecto's outbuilding, was on the town's land in the past. So we've also corrected that problem. And whatever potential liability, God forbid something happened to a private property owner that was on that property in that building, part of that building was misplaced.
I would just say is that this answers the concerns you had from your planning and zoning commissioners. They did not want to sell this unless their desire to maintain the ability to have a future trail in the future be cured at this time. They voted once when that trail did not exist. They said no. But when that was added, in the first agreement, we are selling something to them. The second item, they are giving something to us. They are giving us the easement to now pass over that land in the future. But the items are
Question? Following on the same. When this first came up before the planning and zoning commissioners asked to have a subcommittee set up so that any future sale of land owned by the town that might be used for trails, including the original proprietors' roads, could be reviewed by the subcommittee before it was decided upon by the full planning and zoning commission. Was that ever done? Was that subcommittee ever formed?
Planning and zoning member here to respond?
Not sure.
I would give my brief recollection is that a couple of us did informally, and I know Don and I have reviewed some maps about proprietors' roads. I don't know that with all the time in the day that we spent doing our regular jobs that we got very far on figuring it out, partially because we're not lawyers and don't really know the specifics of proprietors' roads. There's a lot of different roads here. But nonetheless, we do have study committees that are evaluating rails to trails initiatives. Right now, hardworking volunteers considering the possibility of extending a trail from Greenwich Road from NBC up to Pleasant Valley with our friends at Mark Hampstead. And we are trying to do that, but we did establish it and have a couple of people take a look at it, but I don't know that it went very far.
You also have the town historian here, who's an expert on town, on proprietors' roads, and I believe, Mr. Crimmel, I believe that you were one of the people who really wanted to have this subcommittee formed. Did that ever happen?
As far as I know, the committee was not established.
don't know if we are going to want to put a trail there. We don't know the full value of what we are doing.
Any further discussion? I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Got a question regarding the hydrant that's on that property down there. Is it inoperative, turned off, taken out, or what? There is a hydrant that the water company used to flush the end of the line.
There's a fire hydrant, two properties
Not
over.
on this one.
Well, it's not, it's on town property, but two in back of two houses.
Mr. Fetco used that hydrant down there for years. I know it's there.
No, it's
Be
there.
happy.
Unless it's been taken out.
There.
It's not on his property.
It's not on his, the next one.
Yeah.
All right, bring the meeting to order, please. Any additional discussion you have?
We as a town are aware of the full value. We have reserved the right to go forward with a trails to rails over this property in the future. So we had the due diligence of the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as the Board of Selectmen.
We didn't have a subcommittee as they requested it before.
But we are aware of the full value. We do not have a subcommittee, but we have reserved the right as a town to have trails to rails on the old railroad estate.
Okay.
Could I ask for clarification? I'm not clear on this. In the motion we just approved, the property went to the owner,
Subject.
but there is an easement which takes care of water and sewer. Is that
And
correct?
drainage.
And drainage. So the questions about fire hydrants and other such things are carried in what we've already voted on. And am I correct, because I'm confused? This is merely an easement around their property that would allow public use, as indicated by the first selectman. Is that correct?
Questions to
The first selectman.
Take such action as the voters deem best with respect to the acceptance of a recreational trail easement to be granted by the Scalise family to the town of New Hartford as shown on certain map and title property survey prepared for Robert the Scalise and Susan. The motion speaks for itself.
I'd like to make a motion to move the questions and discussion.
Second motion.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of ending discussion on this? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Call for the vote. I'd like to have a motion. Second. All in favor of acceptance? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Hey, look at this, we're already at item number 8. Okay, item number 8, to take action with respect to appropriation of $565,000 for the purpose of purchasing and installing security equipment improvements at the 3 local school buildings. The Board of Selectmen, in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 7.7, has removed item number 8 from the call of this meeting and adjourned such vote on the matter to referendum to be held on Tuesday, May 7, 2013, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. In accordance with Section 7-6 of the Connecticut General Statutes, as amended, only an elector of the town or a citizen of the United States of age 18 years or more who jointly or severely on the last completed grand list of the town or would have been liable, if not entitled, to an exemption as a blind person or as a veteran or as a parent or surviving spouse of a veteran would be entitled to vote at the meeting, would be entitled to vote at the referendum. Since this has been removed from the call, there will be no further action or discussion. I'm sorry, there will be no further action on this item. Is there any discussion? No discussion.
Come on.
I'm sorry, I didn't say it. You have to stand up and both hands up first.
Gary and Mark, I have a question on this. When you say installing security equipment and improvement, could you please define what the improvements are other than security
schools, we have two primary entrances. We have movable doors. All of the doors will be amended in some fashion to improve their security. The two primary entrances of each school will have the commercial glass doors that are currently there and glass side lights removed. The side lights will be bricked and mortared in. The new doorways will be steel doors. They will have a limited visibility glass, which is bullet resistant. And at each of the entrances, you will have a card reader for access, a guest buzzer, a camera, and a monitor at a central location that will allow somebody into the first set of doors. A secondary vestibule will not allow anyone beyond that point unless they are authorized by the central office. That's true in New Hartford, in Bakerville, and in Annalena as well. At Annalena, the renovations are more extensive because the entrance is being moved from its current east side location where the bus circle is to the west end of the building. There are several reasons for doing that. One is that that's a more hardened area of the building. It has more brick and mortar at its face. Number two, one of the first questions that came up as to difficulties in administrating the access and egress where it is now are that you have two complete walls of windows. And one of those walls is all classroom windows down one side. If you were to have hardened all of the glass or made the bullet-resistant glass, you would basically probably equal the cost of moving the central office facilities to the opposite end of the building to improve visibility. There'll be a series of directional signal changes down at the entrance of the school to improve where people are directed to enter the school building. And the parking lot will be closed off during the day at bus entry to allow students to use that area for play space. That's a quick and dirty summary of what constitutes the security changes.
Question, would you have a breakdown of the cost of each of those components?
$71,000 at Bakerville Elementary, $131,900 at New Hartford Elementary, and $362,000 at...
No, what I asked, I didn't ask for a school, I asked for the breakdown for the specific work in
Those line items,
schools.
and they don't exist at this time. They're only estimates. Until such time as a bid comes in, there's no way of knowing what the true line items are.
Could we have the estimates so that we
That
have
was
some
given out.
idea?
That was given out at the meeting that you attended.
No.
All right, order please. I'd like the questions from the moderator, and then we'll get intelligent answers from the right people, all right? Does that satisfy your question, Maria?
Well, no, because Roy says that a breakdown was given out at the Board of Finance meeting for day. No such breakdown was given. The only receipt was a breakdown.
We have the architect's estimates, but we do not have the line item breakout of each item of equipment that's being...
And that was my question. Not so much each item, but how much for the doors at Antonini? How much for the physical room of the office from one end to the other? That's the kind of breakdown I would like to see. So that we can understand.
Noel, is this item is being removed from the agenda? Can we just end the discussion now and not further? Because I mean, it's a new point. We're not voting on anything, we're not doing anything with it.
Can I just ask a
All right, wait a
procedural
minute.
question?
Whole bunch of answers, so go ahead.
Because I don't know, and this might not be the right forum, so if it isn't, I apologize. What happens if it costs more than $565,000? What happens then? Because it's right with the... I just mean completely,
Should this project be approved on May 7th,
right,
and the cost is higher than the money allocated by the town,
right.
you're at an impasse. You have
mean, yeah, so right, what? So what's the cost?
They would be approved to do no further work above and beyond $565,000.
So it just stops, like, half the school is reconfigured and half isn't, or, I mean, like,
I imagine that they would come back with a report to the Board of Selectmen with a recommendation.
and that would be able to happen in a time frame fast enough that this work would get done during the summer?
Excuse me, if that didn't have his hand up, you want to address that question, then?
If the project comes in higher than the estimates, the bids would be rejected. You have the option of rebidding the project, you have the option of rescaling the project to put it in a scope that would bring it in under the 500.
So it wouldn't, in other words, it wouldn't get started if it was going to cost more than $565,000. Okay, thank you.
Melissa, you had your hand up?
I have a question. It's number 8 on this list, and yet it's being removed. And there's number 9. I don't understand. Why was it on this list if the intention was always to send it to our department?
I would have to ask.
In similar fashion as we did in our first meeting of the night, the Board of Selectmen had voted to remove this item from the call of tonight's meeting, which then would further it to a referendum. So this is the technical procedure as you have to be on the call, to be removed from the call, to be forwarded to a referendum. That's the legal process that we follow to initiate the process by statute.
So it's on here because, as I understand it, the Board of Ed made a recommendation to meet this. The Board of Finance supported that recommendation, but now the Board of Selectmen is saying they don't agree with the Board of Ed and the Board of Finance.
No, that's not true. We're just defining how it will be voted on.
That's what I'd like to understand, because it couldn't, if it stayed on here, it could be a town discussion, like we're discussing everything else going on right now, and brought to a vote instead of going to referendum, or is that not even an option because of number 9 that's on here? I just want to understand what's going on. From what I understand is what I said. It seems like there's no choice in this matter.
Well,
Is that correct?
my whole understanding is to pose the question to the citizens to vote.
Well, Mr. Monnery, it's further agreed that we are discussing the issue of the $565,000 now, and it seems from the show of hands, we're going to discuss it a little bit more before we move forward.
I have one response to what you were saying, that the Board of Selectmen has the legal right, 5 days before the meeting, to vote to remove it, and send it to a machine vote. That is not necessarily forming an opinion. It's just saying that the voter by machine at the designated time shall vote on it. But they're not, I don't think they're in any way endorsing or not endorsing it by taking that action.
Right, but I'm proposing these questions to the town that's in moderator, whoever. It's here on this piece of paper, meaning it's brought to the town to discuss and make a discussion or decision or vote on. But from what I understand, from what I'm being told, that that's not the case because it's being removed. So it's basically, I'm hearing this, but is that what you're going to tell me? That yes, it's on here, but we have no rights to make a decision on it not going to referendum?
I thought Pam just explained that it has to legally be on here, so it can be removed to go to referendum.
What part of the Board of Selectmen's rationale in discussing the project at that late meeting in committee was we're already having a referendum on the 7th to vote on the budget. So it would seem that an item of this, in the convenience of already having the referendum scheduled, we could do this and have a vote of the entirety of the town at really no incurred cost. We're going to be open all day voting on Region 7's budget, the town general government, the education budget. So there's really no incremental to get an additional question posed on the bottom. So we offer the convenience of everyone voting all day. That was the selectmen's unanimous switch.
Can I ask my question? My question when I raised my hand was, I'm confused about something. I'm in favor of security, but I'm confused. Isn't there another committee studying whether or not we're going to keep Mayville open?
children though.
Questions?
Order, please. Sorry. Kate, your hand's been raised.
Yes, I'm on that committee, no decision has been made.
You had a question?
Oh my gosh, I just lost my train of
Well,
thought.
Jess, lady behind you can ask her a
Yeah,
question.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I missed the meeting everybody's referring to. The $565,000 is not in the current budget, is that correct? So,
That's correct.
so where does that additional appropriation come from?
Perhaps the Board of Finance member? I can answer this. The long story short is in our savings account, what they call the fund balance.
Okay. Is that
It would
considered?
not impact your real estate taxes on your properties.
Right, I
By
understand
the
that.
board.
Right.
Today,
So,
put in the future effect of those taxes. If our fund balance is 17–18% of our fund balance, $560,000, that could affect our taxes in future years because our fund balance has been depleted by $560,000.
so what is our fund balance?
Roughly 4 months.
Now, in terms of the first question,
You asked me specific questions.
in terms of the first question we voted on had to do with authorizing to apply for a school construction grant. Will any of that school construction grant go for this security work, or is that just for the other items you mentioned, that Denton mentioned earlier?
Then, okay, who wants to address this? Well, go ahead, Ben.
Please. We will be making application for reimbursement. At the time we began the work, there was no money available. The legislature has voted on, I believe it's Public Act 1160, and beginning in July of 2014, there's going to be $15 million made available statewide to 169 communities.
Is
We'll make
that specific?
application, but we have no way of understanding it.
And is that specific to security measures or just general school construction?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Is that specific to security measures or is it just for general school construction?
Specific to security.
Okay.
And your question was?
I just wanted to respond that I think whether you are for it or against it, it has to be all 3 schools or no school. And I understand the consolidation issue, but even if Bakerville is open for 1 more year, as a parent of a child at Bakerville, you absolutely, positively cannot tell a certain population of the school body that their children are chopped meat as far as security goes. So I think it's an unfortunate conundrum, but you just can't do that.
That's not the intention of this. We're going to do it at 3 schools. If the 3 schools are open, we're going to do it at all 3 schools.
I know, but somebody just raised the question.
The other school hasn't been closed yet. If the school is closed prior to the installation of the new doors and security system, then we will not put it in the
But my
school.
understanding
If the school is open, let me finish. If the school is open, it's 3 schools.
Right, but my understanding is that this $565,000 security plan is a plan that is to be carried out this summer, because when it comes to something as important as school security, time is of the essence, no?
It's going to be carried out after the referendum, if the referendum
If,
is
well, okay,
approved.
right, I mean, I'm
It's
not.
not happening yet.
Hold on. Address the questions to moderator, please. Get someone to answer. Okay? You're ganging up.
I'm sorry.
I don't see any other hands raised. I would like to entertain a motion to close discussion on this.
So moved. Second.
So moved and seconded. Let's take the vote. Those in favor of closing discussion? Aye. Opposed? Okay. So, now we get to vote on it. Yes? Okay. Oh, there's no vote. I get to go number 9? Okay.
My mind is for water.
Mr. Moderator, can I suggest you waive the reading of this because you've already read it once?
Or twice.
Second.
We have a motion that I don't read this again
Second.
All in favor?
I have a
Opposed?
question.
I'm sorry? Wait a minute.
Point of order. Motion to be to move to referendum at town meeting.
Yes, thank you for the direction. We need a motion. You have a question or?
Yes, I have a question.
I'm sorry?
I have a question. This is a town meeting. Can we bring up things that are important to me as part of the town?
I'm sorry, but we have to stick to the agenda. Any questions, any discussion, anything on the agenda?
Mary Ann, if it's reference to the school and the 565,000, you have the floor.
The motion, executive session.
All the motion.
I'd like to make an amendment to Den's motion that it's not a town meeting.
Point of
But
order.
it's like a referendum.
What was the motion, Ben? I'm sorry.
I'm amending Den's motion. He said he's going to go to a town meeting, he's going to go to a town referendum.
Point of order, Dennis' motion was voted on. You can't amend the motion after it's been voted on.
That's all.
We didn't vote, we only did.
We voted.
We voted to the discussion.
Now, you voted for the,
We voted to waive reading.
and then you moved it before, please, good of the order, since we all know that the motion was incorrect to me and would prevent us from going to referendum. For the good of the order and by general consensus, have we lay aside the motion that was accepted so that we can make a proper motion and go to referendum?
Second. I have a motion. Is it seconded? I believe I have a second for that. So we amended that and.
For the good of the order, we're laying it aside.
Very good. Who's going?
Vote it.
Okay, we are now ready for a vote to move this to referendum. All in favor?